Alrighty, hi boys and girls, this is Miss North. We are going to look at the textbook pages for 14-8 today, which is all about solving word problems with mass and liquid volume. So this is combining a couple of our prior knowledge topics from this lesson or from this chapter with mass and liquid volume, as well as using our word problem prior knowledge. So remember, in third grade, we're expected to be able to solve word problems using the 4 operations. So what I mean by that is we should be able to solve word problems with multiplication, with addition, subtraction, or division. And we have to be able to read the word problems very, very carefully in order to figure it out. So let's go ahead and start with our guided practice up at the top. Number 1. Suppose 42 liters of juice were evenly divided into 6 batches. How many liters of juice are in each batch? Write and solve an equation. So we're going to use our strategy that we learned already for solving word problems. So I need to figure out how many liters of juice are in each batch, okay? I can go through and I can circle important numbers. So I've got 42 liters of juice. And then I have 6 batches, okay? And then some important words in here is I've got it divided evenly. And then I need to know how many liters of juice are in each batch. And here's my jobs right here. I have to write and solve an equation, okay? So first, I'm going to be starting with I have 42 liters of juice, and I know that they're going to be evenly divided. So I know I'm going to have 42 liters divided into 6 batches. So that means my equation is going to be 42 liters of juice divided by 6 equals, and I have to write an equation. An equation has 2 parts and something on the other side of the equal sign. So when we don't know, in class we've been used to writing our question mark here when we have to write an equation. Or we can also use a letter, which is what we're going to have to start doing kind of over here. And this is getting us ready for some pre-algebra. Okay, so 42 divided by 6 equals something. And that's a something we have to figure it out. For this one, since we're talking about juice, how about we do 42 divided by 6 equals J for juice. How about that? Okay, so you guys can figure it out. What is 42 divided by 6? That's what you're solving for. And if you don't know this, remember you can always flip division around into multiplication, and you can ask yourself, 6 times what equals 42? And that'll get your answer. So pause the video and figure it out. If you got 7, the answer is correct. So that is my answer, 7, and then I always need a label. So I'm looking for how many liters? The answer would be 7 liters, or 7L, okay? So number 2 is using one of our strategies as well, and this is called a bar diagram. So parents, if you haven't seen this before, this is called a bar diagram. Up here on top of the line is where the total goes, and then these are the parts. So we've got part, whole up here. So when we're solving bar diagrams, if you have the whole and you have one of the parts, you subtract to get the other part. If you have both parts and you're missing a whole, then you add them together. Okay, so let's look at this. It says, Alex buys a box of pudding mix and a box of cocoa. The mass of the box of pudding mix is 100 grams. The total mass of the 2 boxes is 550 grams. What's the mass of the box of cocoa? So again, if I have the total and I have one part and I'm solving for B, which is going to be the box of cocoa, I can subtract because I have a whole and I have a part. So I can do off to the side 550 minus 100, and that will tell me what this is over here. So that would be 0 minus 0 is 0, 5 minus 0 is 5, 5 minus 1 is 4. 450, and then I always need my label, which is grams. 450 grams. Okay? So let's look at an independent practice. Make make sure it's on here correctly. Okay, so I have number 3, Peter divided 120 liters of water equally into 3 containers. How many liters did Peter pour into each container? Okay, so I've got 120 and then I've got 3 over here. So I need to ask myself, what is 120 divided by 3? So I've got 120 divided by 3 is going to equal C. That's what it need to know. So C or C plus C plus C will equal 120 because we could turn that into a multiplication problem as well. Okay, so go ahead and pause. Do what you think. And remember, boys and girls, I might not know what 120 divided by 3 is, but I could figure out what 12 divided by 3 is. And then add a 0 at the end, it might help me. So go ahead and pause and try to do that. Okay, so if you did it this way, that means you probably got 4. So 12 divided by 3 is 4. Then 120 divided by 3 is gonna be 40. So the answer would be 40 liters. And you can always check your work. If I put it back in my bar diagram here, that means that 40 plus 40 plus 40 should equal 120 liters. So check your work over to the side. Okay, those are all zeros. Oops, I'm running into it. And then 4, 8, 12, 120. Yep, that one was correct. Make sense? All right, so let's look at number 4. And with our directions, we can either use bar diagrams or equations, so it's kind of up to you what you like the best. Adela pours 235 liters of milk into a blue vat, and a vat is like a big container of a lot of liquid, and 497 liters of milk into a red vat. How many liters of milk does she pour in all? So there's my question. In all is a key word there. So in all, if I'm putting things together, that means I'm either going to be multiplying or I'm going to be adding, because I'm taking 2 parts and I'm putting them together. So let's see. She pours 235 liters of milk into a blue vat and 497 liters of milk into a red vat. What should I do? So if you're going to do a bar model, it would look like this. Okay, there's 2 parts to it. I don't know up here, so I could put M for milk. Or if you're doing an equation, well, here, I'll do 235, 497, those are my parts. Or if you're doing an equation, you could do 235 plus 497. And then that will give you M. So if you word it out like vertically, like that. Okay, so pause the video, you do what you think you should do. I'm adding them together. Okay, if you went through and you got 732 liters, you are correct. Okay, all right, number 5. Make sure you can see it. Need more space. Okay, number 5. Samantha bought 523 grams of grapes. After eating some grapes, she had 458 grams. How many grams did she eat? So I need to know how many grams of grapes did she eat. So she started with this much. This was her total. So if I'm doing a bar model, that'd be at the top. Oh my goodness. 523. After eating some grapes, she had 458 grams. So she ate some grapes. We do G for grapes. And then I know after she eats some grapes, she has 458. So if you have a whole and you only have one part, remember you subtract, okay? So if I was gonna do an equation, it would be 523 minus 458 equals G. That's the amount of grapes that she ate. So if I take what she started with, I subtract what she has left, then I'll figure out how much she ate. And if you're like me and probably your parents, you probably like to stack it. Okay, 3 minus 8 is impossible. I can't do it, so I have to go next door. 2 becomes a 1, 3 becomes a 13, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 5. 1 minus 5 is impossible, can't do it, so I go over here to my hundreds. My 500 goes down to be a 400, and my 10 turns into an 11. So I've got 11 minus 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 65 grams of grapes. Okay? Number 6. Omar is shipping 3 boxes. Each has a mass of 8 kilograms. What is the total mass of all the boxes? So here is this. Okay, that's my question. So I need to know when I have what is the total mass of all the boxes? That means I'm putting things together. Okay, so Omar is shipping 3 boxes. He has 3 of them, and each one has a mass of 8 kilograms. And I don't know what the total is. So in my bar diagram, I don't know the mass of the boxes. I'll put B for boxes up here. I do know that there's 3 of them, so I'll do 1, 2, 3 boxes, and I know that they are 8 each. Okay? So if I have repeated addition, then that means that I could either multiply or I could just add 8 3 times to figure it out. So you can either do 8 plus 8 plus 8, or you could do 8 times 3. So 8 times 3 equals B could be your equation, or 8 plus 8 plus 8 equals B could be your equation. Both will get you the same exact answer. Okay? So pause your video, figure it out. If you got 24, my label is kilograms, then you are correct. Nice job. Okay? All right, we're just gonna do a couple on the back. Parents, if you guys wanna go through and you wanna do these 2 at the top, they're pretty good if you downloaded the PDF. This higher order thinking can be a little bit tricky for them. If you want to go ahead and try to teach them division, this is big division. This is like 5th grade division. You could go for it. But otherwise, they're just going to probably do adding 42 up until they get to 210, because repeated addition is more for 3rd grade. Okay, so let's look at, I did want to do this review question back here, number 9. Okay, so this is an elapsed time one. Elijah has 2 hours before dinner, and he spends the first 37 minutes practicing his guitar and the next 48 minutes doing his homework. How much time is left until dinner? So this one is tricky because it's a 2-part problem. Okay, so he has 2 hours before dinner. That's what he starts off with, 2 hours until dinner time. He spends the first 37 minutes practicing his guitar and the next 48 minutes doing his homework. And then I need to figure out how much time is left. So remember, if we have how much time is left, that's gonna be a subtraction problem eventually. How much is left? I'm gonna have a whole, I'm gonna subtract something, and then I have to figure out how much time is left. Okay, so we start with 2 hours, and then he did this many minutes doing something and this many minutes doing something as well. Circle my important ones. So first, I would ask myself, well, how many minutes did he spend doing other things while he was waiting for dinner to be done? So if I have 37 minutes and 48 minutes that he was doing other activities while he was waiting, how would I figure out how many minutes he spent doing other activities? 37 and 48. I'm going to add those together. Okay, so 7 plus 8, well, let's see, 7 plus 7 is 14, so 7 plus 1 more would be 15. So put my 5 down here, carry my 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 85 minutes he has doing other activities. And he has 2 hours. So I've got hours and minutes. How do I figure out how many minutes are in 2 hours? Do you remember how many minutes are in just 1 hour? What do you think? If you remember 60, that's true. So how many minutes are in 2 hours? So you do 60 times 2 or 60 plus 60, because that'd give you 2 hours. Okay, so it'd be 120. So you've got 120 minutes in 2 hours minus the 85 minutes that he spent doing other things like practicing his guitar and doing his homework. If I subtract 120 minus 85, that will tell me how much time he spent doing other things. So you go ahead and pause the video. Okay, if you ended up getting 35 minutes, you are correct. 35 minutes, okay? All right, number 11, assessment practice. Eric filled a container to the 18-liter mark with juice an hour ago. The juice is now at the 15-liter mark. Mark the amount of juice Eric had on the beakers. Then find out how many liters of juice have been poured out. So I've got 2 jobs here. Job number 1, I have to mark on these liters. Job number 2, I have to find out how many liters of juice have been poured out. So let's see. Amount of juice 1 hour ago. Eric filled a container to the 18-liter mark with juice an hour ago. So where do you think you would mark on this liter? I've got a 15 here and a 20 here. Mark on the liter where you would mark 18 liters. Okay, so I've got 15. Maybe I should zoom in so you can see. Okay, so I've got 15, 16, 17, 18. It'd be like right here. And it's okay if it's not perfect. Okay, so that's where he has it. So that's that one. I have to mark on this amount of juice now. The juice is now at the 15-liter mark. That one's nice and easy. It's marked for you. Okay, so if I know he started here and he ended here, what operation do I do to figure out how much was poured out from here to here? Okay, so if I was you, I would do 18, because that's where you started with, minus 15, and that should give you your answer. So 8 minus 5 is 3. 1 minus 1 is 0, so that means 3 liters, which means it is A. Okay. Oops, sorry, you couldn't see that. All right, nice job, boys and girls. Thank you so much, and happy practicing.